And then the little fish spoke as it broke away. It said no limits, but no with a K. You are now going off with RC and Muse.
We've got a comment from last week's show, and you know what? I want to make this a regular feature. I feel like I've done this the past 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
Where we just pick a thing of like, hey, here's something we either forgot to talk about last week, or a correction, or something like that, and start the show with it as a little last time on. For those of you who might remember last week, we talked briefly about the Grammys, music's biggest night, and we talked about the suspicious absence of The Weeknd in person, and well as nominations. And I said specifically that there's got to be a very specific reason for that. Someone who has some of the biggest hits of the year, someone who just performed at the Super Bowl, was unavoidable on the radio. It doesn't make sense for them to just be completely ignored. So we've got a comment clarifying that The Weeknd had a choice: perform at the Grammys or perform at the Super Bowl. He took the obviously better gig, and the Grammys were salty and disallowed his music from being nominated and canceled his performance. In return, The Weeknd will no longer submit his music to the Academy. Sucks he couldn't win, but sucks he was in such a tough spot.
But doesn't that just go to show, like, just how much this is about bullshit and politics more than about, like, actual music? Like, it's not like... Yeah. You know, there was some misunderstanding and someone just got back. No, it's just like, no, you gotta do our thing because it's more important for you to do our thing. And it's like, well, fuck you. I'm gonna do the thing that's more advantageous to me. It's like, well, if you're not gonna do our thing, then you're not gonna be honored this year as someone who made good music. Like, fuck you. Like, you know?
Here at the Grammys, we celebrate and recognize the cream of the crop, the most influential, the most groundbreaking and important music from the past year, unless you throw us some fucking shade and decide to perform at the Super Bowl instead.
Then you didn't make good music this year.
The caveats there are like, I don't know then. It kind of makes it look like a fucking sham, a charade.
Just a little bit.
I don't know if it's necessarily a better gig. I mean, it might be, but I've heard that you don't even get paid to perform at the Super Bowl. Like, they look at it as a commercial for your record.
I mean, I'll put it to you like this. Did you hear people talking all day about, like, the Grammy performances in the same way that you hear, like, about the Super Bowl performances? No, because it's like a very singular, oh my god, look at what happened for half an hour. You know, like that guy's performance, you know?
The WAP performance...
True.
...did get play for a few days after. Now, that does say, though, if The Weeknd was scheduled to perform, that means he was nominated for awards also, because they don't normally have people perform unless they're also nominated for awards. Even Poppy performed at the pre-show, one of their songs that was nominated for Best Metal Performance. I wonder how many awards The Weeknd was nominated for initially, and how many they just decided to scrap. I have a feeling it was probably most of them. At least the ones he applied was, like, applicable for. Like, not new best artist, hopefully. They're not pulling that shit. Chance the Rapper, best new artist, even though he's been making music for, like, 5 years. Or Lizzo. I have a feeling he probably would have came close to sweeping, too. Which, like, it would be a shame if the Grammys meant anything. But they're such irrelevant bullshit in 2021 that it's all just like, yeah, whatever. Like, it's like arguing people being inducted into the WWF Hall of Fame. Like, it's not real. It doesn't matter. It's all bullshit anyway.
Oh my god, what about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Isn't that a whole bunch of bullshit too?
Like... I mean, probably. I'm still waiting to see the nominees. I always, like, it is bullshit, and, like, I don't really know how much it means. Like, I'll use it for an example. I know the WWE Hall of Fame, like, if you're in the Hall of Fame, you get a certain paycheck because you're considered, like, a legend, and then you sign a contract that makes it so, like, if they do future programming that revolves around Hall of Famers, you're included. So it is kind of, like, it does actually kind of help you financially.
There's a direct caveat that benefits you.
I mean, I know back in the day when, I know specifically when the Police and stuff like that were nominated, and the Ramones, one year were inducted, they re-released their discography, like remastered in conjunction with their induction. Like, hey, people are talking about him again. Maybe they'll reignite some interest in their catalog, so we'll be able to sell some records again. Now that they don't really press CDs and records are just kind of out there, I don't really know if they do that anymore. Exactly. Like, if they're remastering them, they're remastering them regardless. I don't know if they need an excuse.
I don't know, maybe they'll make a non-fungible token out of the...
Oh, for fuck's sake! I regret we even talked about Kings of Leon and that shit. If you go back and listen to that, we must sound so fucking naive about that whole thing. Like, oh, how novel. I don't get it, but whatever. And then you read into it, it's like, oh, it's literally destroying the planet, and everybody should stop doing it immediately. Kings of Leon, did you even know?
Yeah, right.
Before you signed on.
We didn't know, but, like, our dumbasses didn't know, but, we didn't sign a fucking contract with the motherfucker.
2 weeks ago, I'm like, hey, Kings of Leon has a non-fungible token record. Huh, ain't that quaint? 2 weeks later, Pringles, what are you doing?
The infamous video that should be the fucking video seen around the world of, like, someone, like, just taking a phone and just, like, going through, like, that hot-ass, like, room where...
Jesus!
Yeah, it's just like, why do we even need this then? Who needs it? It's literally creating computations to justify the existence of a property that doesn't exist. Like, fuck out of here!
This week on the show, we've got 2 listener-requested albums, and boy oh boy, where do we start?
Oh, let's start with James Ollis's request for Chill Dummy by P.O.S.
Fucking Doomtree? Now that's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
And aren't both of the rappers today, like, Minneapolis rappers? Am I getting that right?
I couldn't tell you. I'm not that familiar. I meant to check and see, I guess I could do it now, who all is in Doomtree, because I feel like we've reviewed...
Yes!
I feel like we've gone to this well a few times now.
Yeah, they're from Minneapolis, and we're also reviewing fucking, Atmosphere. It's a Minneapolis State episode. Look at that.
Okay, we've done Dessa. That sounds familiar.
Yeah, Dessa I remember enjoying because she has an interesting, voice and is doing some interesting stuff.
Did we do Sims?
I believe so, and...
I think that's it.
Yeah.
And this is 3?
And Cecil Otter, I think.
We did Cecil Otter? Oh, yeah, that is right. Oh, man, holy shit. Yeah, I'm forgetting all of this. Wow.
You're already giving it away. Because, like,
am I?
And maybe we'll have maybe we'll come to a different conclusion. Maybe we haven't. But so far, as we've reviewed the artists from Doomtree, I think I can go ahead and say they haven't exactly left the biggest mark on us musically.
You're ready to write Doomtree off. I'm calling for the check. I mean, I feel like we say this a lot, but it was okay.
Right? Like...
man... Yeah, this left no lasting impression on me. I'm just gonna go ahead and say this. I listened to this album 2 days ago to take the notes. I had to re-listen to it today because I'd completely forgotten everything about it. And I was like, oh yeah, that's the one with that thing. Right, okay.
And like you said, it's not even like bad, but it's just kind of like... It's like water, like, it's like, oh yeah, it's, good, it's fine, but, it's not what I immediately asked for if I was, you know what I mean? Like,
It's got such a cool cover that I hate when albums with
right.
such weird, interesting covers are, like, some of the most bland shit.
And it's like, there's, honestly, some music on here that's like, so this guy's a rapper for the most part, but you hear a little bit of, grungy guitar in there, some shit that sounds like, ooh, we're doing rap rock, okay, I'm with it, yeah, and then it just never builds or goes anywhere, and it's like, all right, we're just chugging along in the song, no, now we're at the end, what, oh, okay, I guess next song, and, all right, there's kind of something happening, but it's like, it's so consistently that vibe, and it's like I said, it's not even bad, it's just freaking mediocre. I hate to say this, just out the gate, but I'm just like, what song am I specifically, there are 1 or 2 songs on here that's like, oh, that was actually, like, that came together and that was a bit of a joint. But yeah, like, starting off with the first song, like, Born a Snake, where it's like, all right, this is an okay intro, I like the instrumental, but I'm not sure why he says Born a Snake. I'm not sure what that feels like that has to do with the rest of the song. You know what I mean? Like,
and then the next one is called Wearing a Bear. And it's just it's one line in the song where he goes, "I'm wearing a bear, call me Revenant," or whatever. Because
remember that one?
Yeah, the album isn't chock full of timely references, but something about the production made me have to double take that it was actually from 2017.
Yeah, I was about to say, what year were you gonna think it was from?
Maybe like early days of Bandcamp, early days SoundCloud. It's like very simple trap beats, or like the drum machine just kind of loops. There are some that
but it's got a little guitar in there, but it never.
Yeah, you got some fucking Fruity Loops or whatever, GarageBand going on.
Right.
And I'm not trying to shit on them because it didn't sound bad. Like I know when I say GarageBand or Fruity Loops, and immediately it must sound like, oh, it would sound like the most amateurish shit. There really wasn't. There were some tracks like I have written down. Pieces Ruins had an interesting instrumental.
Ruins was so great. That spacey open hook where everything's left in ruins. Like, I was like, oh, okay. Like, and the actual rhymes that he was spitting there were actually kind of like fucking tight. I think, which was the one that had... Oh, yeah, that was the one that had...
Bus Driver?
Yeah, Bus Driver on there.
Making a surprise appearance.
Yeah, and I actually, kind of enjoyed his voice. I enjoyed his verse and everything he was saying. He was like, from the OG's bio, what a mouthful. When we write the laws, it's poetry by counsel. Sit with my fork and my dinner plate and knives, thinking I can do more than just entertain whites, my spite. I was like, oh, shit.
They had some pretty good appearances. He got fucking Open Mike Eagle, friend of the show.
Open Mike Eagle had an incredible verse that goddamn stole the show. Yeah, I was not expecting it, but then I heard is that what I think? That better not be. Oh shit,
man! I would say for two reasons, you gotta save the guest verses for last.
Exactly.
You should be building up to the guest, because I've heard this other guy this whole time.
Yeah.
This is nothing new. Open Mike Eagle, you should be working up to that. Why would you have him open the song? And it's all downhill from there.
And his verse is so incredible and on topic. And then, and then you even get the hook, the song's about, the infinite scroll, being on the internet and, doom scrolling and all that,
Oh, yeah.
New age topic sort of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Something you can really dig your teeth into. And fucking Open Mike Eagle fucking delivers. And then there's a female rapper on there who does the second verse. And it's not stellar, but it's still keeps with the vibe of what's happening at least. And then, like I said, it's not as good as Open Mike's because, his was, fucking incredible. And then by the time you get to the third verse, it's so, nothing. And I think he, tangentially brings up something about, girls scrolling on the phone. And, it takes it from Open Mike Eagle, who feels like he's talking about, this new age topic of, people, always being invested in the internet instead of real life. And he makes you really understand that moment. And then P.O.S. comes in and just sounds like some 45-year-old guy talking about, the kid's on the phone. How about your Pokemon go to the phone? You know what I mean? So it's just kind of we're just oh, she's on her phone all the time. But then he starts his verse. Yeah, it's later on in the verse, he's saying, oh, she's on the phone and da-da-da-da, and I'm on a date, but she's texting. But earlier he's like, compare myself to who? Sketching on this mothership, rock with the champion crew, fitting in with the other shit, nah. And it's just but what? That's clearly not what this was about. And your hook, it was a really good fucking hook where he was just talking about, I'm a dead man walking, the streets ain't talking, they're busy on the phones, favored in their problems, liking all their causes, can't help feeling alone. That was such a good hook, especially when he goes, lost in the infinite, and you hear, the cavernous beat happening, that was so cool. And then he just does nothing with it when he gets to his verse, you know what I mean?
I think it would have been more impactful if, was it Manchita? I think her verse was what really killed it. I didn't mind P.O.S.'s. I actually thought he had a pretty strong showing on that one. But, man, I'm just not here for these whisper-ass singing verses. It's it takes me out of it.
I think I enjoyed the audio dynamic switch up of it. I think that was what I liked about it the most, Because, when I'm pressured to be okay, well, what was the lyric from there? I'm
I'm scrolling through this, trying to see if there's anything really worth talking about. Oh, okay, here's one that ended up getting a higher rating than I thought it would have for a song that I didn't really care for. Bully.
Oh God, I didn't like that one. Bully! Bully! I couldn't fucking take it.
I hated the bully sample. That was so fucking annoying.
It sounded like a messed up machine broken version of like Young Jeezy's, scritchy voice saying bully, and it was just
the instrumental was like, it was super bassy, but it also had like ominous, echoey strings thrown in too.
Yeah, when it first started, I did not enjoy the way the drums were like all up in your fucking ears. You know what I'm saying?
I liked that.
No, I liked it better when like a little bit into the verses, when you hear like the track has more room to breathe, and you hear this bending metal trash can compactor thing in the background.
Yeah.
Which sounds like really like that felt like it was very ominous and set the mood right. But the first thing just felt like I was like, oh, fucking back up.
And I liked the distorted vocals on rapper hooks. I thought the verse was meh, but I liked how like it was just kind of getting more like harder and harder to make out with how distorted it was getting. But between the bully sample and the inconsistent beeping, which I didn't understand, how it goes from I'm with 20 bad beeps out the word bitches.
Yeah.
10 of them wearing hoodies. She's already on my beeps out dick. But then it goes, I'm just trying to find where to put it. Got hobbies of a nerd, but I'm a motherfucking bully. And it comes up later too, where in like the same line, it'll bleep out a word, and later in the song they get more and more innocuous. Like they're not even like songs that would like they're not even words that would get censored on the radio. And then it would be followed up by like a motherfucker or something that like obviously would be. And I don't know what they were going for in the context of the song.
Yeah, there was one where it's like with a couple bottles and a couple bottles.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck's going on?
Like, well, yeah, why is that beeped?
And it's like I would dig that if it was a concept that made sense and it was about that.
Yeah.
But I don't know why you're doing it. So it's just annoying.
The song feels like it's about nothing. Like, you're listening to it. What does he say? He says, like, and I'm probably doing everything I shouldn't, reaching for the stars because my father said I shouldn't. It just rhymes shouldn't with shouldn't, but whatever. And then a smart R word, at least he believed that one.
That's right.
I'll push if you tell me pull it, just as long as my description and definition is bully.
Is this like bully? Is this like 1900s?
Yeah,
yes.
I remember the context.
Good show, bully. I don't think it is. Fucking Professor Elemental ass up in here, what's going on?
And then there's a couple of songs in here where, like, I did like what was happening, and then the song just ends after a minute. It's like literally the two songs.
Yeah.
Where there was like something happening, it was like, oh, okay, we're kind of building to a little, huh? And it just like fell into the next track. I'm like, whoa, what's happening?
Lanes. It was really short, and it ends about 2/3 into the song, then to just fade back in and repeat the chorus.
Yeah, that
like,
was, yes.
If you didn't have anything, just call it. Move on to the next one.
Right?
Why fade out only to come back in and then... I feel like I said this just last week. When songs will do this, they have the false ending. And they bring it back, and then they just don't do anything with it. It's like, then what's the point?
Yeah.
I remember there was a Katy Perry song. Was that really annoying? This is how we do. And at the end of it, it stops, and then you hear Katy go, oh, no, bring the beat back. Mm-hmm. And then it goes on for like 30 more seconds, and she just she doesn't do anything. She doesn't say anything else over it. When the beat wasn't even that good. It's not like, okay, one example where I think it works, because the beat is so fucking dope, is Lose Control by Missy Elliott.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Where at the end of the song, it's like, here we go, and it's like, bring the beat back, and it's like, yeah, I want to hear that beat again, because that beat's fucking... You're like, yeah, I wasn't ready to hear that go again. Just let that roll for like another minute or two. I'm rocking with that. Because it was so hyped that it was like, yeah, cool. But... yeah, if you're just gonna fade it out for no good reason, then just bring it back, it's like, that just could have stayed gone. I didn't need that again.
Roddy Piper. What the fuck was that song about? I was a
Not about Roddy Piper. You got one reference and that's it.
Yeah, I specifically saw the title. I was like, oh, this was going to be the fun one. I'm going to be talking with you about what this is a reference to and what that would be a reference. Not really.
I'm painting half my body black in a controversial moment that won't look good on TV in about 20 years.
Oh no!
I'm throwing a lot of homophobic jokes in my promos that also won't age very well. But no, all we get is I'm here to do two things.
Fresh.
I'm all out of gum, which is a really shitty way to drop that ball, by the way.
Dude, he so messes up that reference.
He doesn't even deliver it well.
Like, he didn't have enough words, and he didn't have enough time in like the beat, and so he just jumbled a couple words out. And he's like, I just came to do two things. I'm fresh out of bubblegum. It's like, what?
You didn't even have to do it. Like, if that's the only one you're gonna do, just don't even do it.
And like the way he starts the verse, it's just like nothing. He's like, killer pizza, awful people, yeah, church and steeple. I've been the one to stop the leak before it floods. Huh? What? Killer pizza? What's happening?
I think I'm just so used to Mega Ran and his Matt Mania stuff that, like, if you've got a song called Roddy Piper, I'm expecting a fucking remix of the bagpipe music or something like you're playing up to it, or you're playing into it a bit. You're making some references. Like, you don't have to make the whole song that, obviously, but it's like there wasn't even a point to it here.
The other song I kind of really enjoyed was Thieves, but that was only really for the hook, because the hook had a really cool concept. He said, like, we could live like thieves, we could live like kings, they could both be the same thing. Yeah, they're exactly the same thing when you think about it. And I was like, holy shit, whoa, that's making me think about, like, you know, the monarchy and how fucked up it is. You know what I mean? Like, oh, it's never that. And then the verse is, it doesn't really go into it. Not really, you know. And it's like, what? Why would you bring, like, you're obviously thinking about something cool, and then you just didn't follow it up, you know?
Can we talk about the weird missed opportunity here, or the wasted potential of the last track?
Oh, Sleep Drone Superposition?
It's over 8 minutes.
Yes.
It's featuring, hold on, let me count, I want to be accurate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people, allegedly. I say that allegedly.
Yeah.
For a reason here in a sec. So, we get the strongest presence from Hard R, who is apparently P.O.S.'s son, thrown on the track.
Oh.
It shows. It really is one of those, whose nephew is this? How did he find his way onto the track? Oh, he's literally P.O.S.'s son, that makes sense.
So earlier when he said that, yo, I'm kicking it with Hard R, I thought it was like he was kicking it with his homeboys, not his fucking kid.
Nah, yeah, he's just chilling with his family.
He tried to make that sound so much cooler.
No. So yeah, it's when you look at it, like, it seems like a super daunting posse cut when you've got featuring 8 people. Like, holy shit, is this fucking oldie from fucking Odd Future? Like, we're gonna get everyone on the track. Everyone's gonna bring their A game.
Yeah, and the track's almost fucking 9 minutes long.
We've got a couple mediocre subpar verses from his son. It says, this is where the allegedly comes in. It says Lizzo is on the track.
What?
Where? Is Lizzo just part of the, like,
fucking
that chorusy...
by the studio.
Yeah, like, they have, like, a chorus of people singing on the chorus. Is Lizzo in there?
Maybe it's a fucking all of the lights situation.
Oh, yeah, we got her in the fucking, God, what was her name? From LaRue?
Oh.
Going all the way this time? Okay, look. I really like All the Lights. I always skip to the next track once that part starts.
All the way this time?
God, I used to know her name because I used to think LaRue was kind of cool. When, was it Bulletproof?
Yeah, this time, baby, I'll be... Yeah, it was like, oh, look, we're throwing it back to the 80s. Yeah, I'll be Bullet. Oh, man, if you listen to this album, that was worth it.
Oh, no. So, like, by 2017, if you have Lizzo on a track, Lizzo has already put out her EP with Good as Hell, I think Truth Hurts might even have been out by this point.
Yes. Oh, yes.
You give her a featured verse or something. In an 8 to 9 minute track?
No, he's got to give
It's just pissing.
He's got to give his son another verse.
They're just wasting time. The chorus repeats so fucking much. And it really does make it seem like, okay, we're going to be talking about some real shit here with some police brutality. And then, like, I wasn't really left with any, like, super powerful, meaningful messages from it. It was just like, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, like, one lyric, he's like, I've been waiting for nothing. This pain is nothing. I be clutching my stomach, but this here is nothing. Scheming on what I wanted. This pain is nothing. This pain is pumping through my veins. It's nothing.
Yeah, I mean, you said it.
Part of a 9-minute song. Like, by the time I got here, I was like, what is this for? In superposition. I'm in the superposition. What is the superposition?
No.
And I had to look it up. It was like, it's like, the state of movement, but also stillness at the same time. And it's like, it's kind of appropriate because the song sounds like it's not going anywhere for 8 minutes.
It's running in place.
Yes. I mean, I guess if he wanted to personify that, he did a good job, but it's not a
He's
good
on a
listening
fucking
experience.
treadmill. I feel like calling it here.
Yeah. I gave this a 2.5.
I ended up giving it a generous 3.
Generous indeed.
Yeah. But moving on to our second request from McSwagburger XL, bringing us Atmosphere. When life gives you lemons, you paint that shit gold. Darren, we've now hit Doomtree 3 times, and this will make our 3rd Atmosphere album as well.
Look at that. Minneapolis representing for this week.
Reviewing Fishing something?
Fishing Blues,
Fishing Blues.
Travels. Atmosphere's been someone that, like, my friend in high school and college was really into him, and he's he's the underground white boy rapper. He's not like the mainstream Eminem. He's telling you exactly about his feelings. He'll tell you about, like, a relationship he had, and he'll be so painfully honest about it that you gotta respect him. Like, he's that kind of level. I think I might have brought it up on the other episode as well. And, there is something definitely to respect of that where you're just like, oh my God, he's just being so fucking real about what he's talking about. You know what I'm saying? But I do remember us being like, it's not that he's not, like, good, but sometimes it'll just kind of feel like, oh, that felt like a little less than I was expecting him to go with for, like, certain tracks. Like, wasn't there that one song where we were like, yeah, I'm representing Minneapolis, and, one time I came across this kid who came up to me with a gun, and he was like, sir, I found this gun, so we should do something with it. And he's like, oh, okay, yeah, we should do something about that. And it's like, I guess it didn't go where I was thinking it was going to go, but at the same time,
well, anyway. Like, whoa, no, is there more to that story? Because that was vaguely interesting. No, that's it. Oh, okay, well... All right, next song, I guess.
But Atmosphere is like now I don't want to like necessarily doubt it because like that is like his sort of like slice of life appeal, right? Like he's just telling you the real reality of what he's going through, and I like do enjoy a lot of it. In fact, I will say that like of all the albums we listen to, I think this is the best one. I think this is the most focused, most consistent. The stories are the most like poignant and cutting with what they're saying. You know what I'm saying? Like the rest of us, had start off with a beautiful piano loop.
Yes.
With that fucking... And he goes into a lot of stories of, particularly women, but I think it's kind of cool, like, just sort of like... Yeah, well, it does kind of feel like, wait, is this like a bigger story? Because it feels like he kind of repeats some things. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, I feel like we already heard that story, but okay. But again, if I try to go like, well, is it like trying to play into like a bigger album? Because like maybe we're seeing like a different aspect of that story. Like maybe that's what he's doing, Earlier, he has a lyric in the first one, like the rest of us. Shit, there's no way to measure us. Not every pony grows up to be a Pegasus. You gotta let people be hypocrites. Count your blessings and mind your business.
That follows a pregnant woman offering him a cigarette. And I thought the not all ponies grow up to be Pegasus is like, if someone's smoking, that like could stunt the growth of the baby.
Oh, I
thought maybe that was the reference there. Or something. But yeah, I liked that. I liked that connection. And you touched on a lot of things I was about to say. First of all, I will completely agree with you, good sir. this is the best of the three.
Yeah.
I still didn't love it.
And
but
yeah.
With that said, though, I did think it was better than the other two. This falls in between. Seven's Travels was a few years before this, and Fishing Blues was a few years after, so we're right in the middle here of we know where he's been, we know where he's going, and this might have been where he peaked. A lot of the stories do happen to focus around women, not in not in the best way.
I think it's like it's sympathetic in some respects, and other ones it feels like earlier when he says she ended up on the pole with her heels pointing at her Jesus she used to know, stripped her down to her naked body. We made her drown in a lake full of patriarchy. In between the pride and the misery, with the infinite supply of sympathy, are these invisible walls that hold me like the goldfish bowl is the whole sea. Like, you know, like poetic flourishes and things like that, where it's just like, I feel like we're getting like a deeper picture of this, and it's not just, oh, shame for being a sex worker, right?
It's weird because there are points later where he absolutely does do that.
Yeah.
There's a good bit of what some would perceive, possibly me, perceive as some casual misogyny, slut-shaming, sex worker shaming, in general here that comes up, in my opinion, way too much. Even if we're looking past the songs about women specifically, it's a very judgy album. It judges sex workers, it judges drug addicts, it judges alcoholics. Like, it presents these stories, but not in the most sympathetic way. In a lot of them, he comes off kind of judgy, kind of preachy, and that rubbed me the wrong way. If we're just going to cut to the chase, I just got to cut to the worst one, in my opinion.
Which one? The
one that exemplifies everything I had a problem with, and that's the skinny.
See, that's actually one of the ones I liked more.
Fuck that. Cause no.
I liked how it was like, remember that Fort Minor song, Cigarettes?
No.
You ever heard that? Like, it's kind of like doing that, like personifying, like, how people, could be a slave to, like, well, I mean, here it's specifically cigarettes again, which is interesting to me because it's like, I thought it was going to be about, like, heroin, like, oh, yeah, suck that skinny white dick or whatever. But it's like, oh, he's talking about cigarettes, which is interesting to me because, like, that is actually, I would say, like, the better thing to go after, right, in the grand scheme of things, because that's what's legal and it's allowed to kill people. Heroin is illegal, and, I mean, I guess we're doing all we can to do about that, but the fact that, like, we have these, a system where lobbyists are allowed to, like, keep this thing that's clearly dangerous and killing people completely legal because, well, we were already making money off of it before we decided to kill people in a horrible way, so,
You know what's so funny? I never got the connection that this was supposed to be about cigarettes.
You don't really get it until, like, the last second where he's like, oh, the cigarette butt, sing along. And I was like, wait, what? That's a bit of a silly image. Oh, you said.
He does that shit twice. He thinks he's fucking clever. Again, I think I should probably preface it by saying that this was 2008. And a lot of this was pretty par for the course for 2008. This is very of that time. In certain aspects, he seems very sympathetic. This person is a victim who's been manipulated, but then a lot of the time is very insulting and demeaning.
You're right, because the one lyric is like, I know it feels like you can't live without him, and you're still too embarrassed to tell your parents about him. And like there's that sense where it's like, oh, I get it. Like they're comparing like having a bad boyfriend to that. But it's the way he keeps specifically going for it's kind of crazy how he's on your mouth every time you need a little bit of help you out. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and how he just goes like, yeah, you want to suck that dick, so suck it. Like, the way he says it, it's like, all right, so you're addressing and you're aware that this is a problem, but you're not really offering solutions. You're just passing judgment, rather harshly, if I might add.
Yeah, I guess there's some capacity of it where it's just like, he's trying to put you in the moment of the harshness of that reality, right? Like,
I guess so,
you know what I mean? But yeah, you're right. It makes it kind of come off as like, why are you so mad at them?
Yeah, it's like, if this is a problem, like, if the person later, there's a song about, like, there's a couple tracks about people being alcoholics, he doesn't really offer solutions, and I guess that's the point, where he's just, like, a passive narrator. But if you're a passive narrator, why are you interjecting and editorializing and being so fucking judgmental all the time?
You know, maybe that's what it is.
Just tell it like it is.
He's representing Minneapolis and the true despair of the town, you know?
There's a couple other tracks that got low ratings for me, trying to skip around here. Okay. I didn't like You.
You love the people that love you. You hear the music they groove to.
You don't know. Yeah. Oh! Yeah, that was what was wrong. I forgot the inflection. That was so fucking annoying. I couldn't stand that chorus.
And then, like, I wasn't sure where he was going for. Okay, so, like, the song is kind of saying, like, oh, man, you know, this woman has to deal with all this BS, you know, like, she's got to deal with being at work. And, you know, if she's feeling a little angry, you know, she's allowed to feel that way. That's the song, right? And then, like, and later on, it seems to be, like, really on her side and, like, talking about her story. And then at the end, he says, like, you know, flirting, sexual tension, surfing through them then, because they all searching for that bent one, or just one to bend. And you look like you could be my friend, with a smile that I just got to flirt with. Girl, you look like you just got off work. And it's like, wait, is he flirting with her now?
That's what I'm saying, yeah. The whole song is about a waitress who has to deal with creepy dudes all day. And then he ends up being a creepy dude. Like, what? All right.
Yeah, like, is that the point to be like, oh man, she can't even the narrator, she has to deal with his roving eye.
He can't even help himself. Like, all right. What song were we talking about with the mom? Oh, Dreamer. That's right.
The mom who has to deal with she's got 2 kids and she's got to deal with the deadbeat dad and and this happens like more than 2 times on this album.
There's the waitress who has to deal with Slug being a creep. There's Dreamer, where this woman, she has 2 kids, one of which just kind of either like runs away or gets kicked out, and the husband either doesn't work or like
he's a lazy bum.
He relies on her to work to support everyone. And then it ends with, when you smile and she doesn't return it, give her room, man, don't disturb it. If it makes it hurt less to curse and fight, go ahead and hate the world, girl, you earn the right. It's like, alright, that was pretty dope. What was weird, though, I couldn't help but notice, that it starts off by saying, like, she's got a condition of the heart. She's got a heart condition. And then it talks about how, like, she's not in the best of health. It's like, oh. And then it's, like, ultimately unrelated and irrelevant.
Yeah,
like, I don't think it really delves with that again.
Yeah, that comes up first, and then...
Yeah, why did you lead with that?
I don't know. Again, it's like, it's so, like, giving you such intricate detail of someone's life that it's just, like, there just ends up being certain information where it's just like, why are you saying all of this, though? Do I need this as part of...
I was waiting for that other shoe to drop. I was like, oh, no, is she gonna get ill? Like, what's gonna happen? No? Oh, okay. Cool, I guess.
But no, it mainly ends up being about, like, at least I think I remember mostly, like, where she talks about she's leaving that guy, but then it kind of becomes clear that he moves back in with her.
Yeah, she can't leave him, or he can't leave.
Yeah, or because he says, he wants to play his part, so she let him move into that garden level apartment. She knew better, but she did it anyways. Explain better when you're trying to see some better days. Like, I like that in the sense of, like, like, I don't want to get with this guy, and he seems like he's a piece of shit, but you know what? Help is help, and I kind of need it, so I'm not going to... You can kind of get that feeling of desperation that the song is trying to give you, right? So, like, points for being able to, like, give you these, like, real feelings and make you understand them to a certain capacity, right? Like, that's where I give him props on for a lot of these tracks. But yeah, like, there's so many tracks where, and as well, like, with the other guy, where it would just be like, that clearly doesn't rhyme that well, and you didn't try to make that rhyme better. Like, so much throughout this album where it's just like, come on, that didn't rhyme, man.
Yeah.
Like, I get it, trying to do the beat poetry on it, but it just sounds bad when you just when you set up certain things where it'll be like, okay, but that really didn't fit with that, and it sounds awkward, and it's like, you just didn't care that it sounded awkward,
The other one in this Waitress trilogy, where I thought this one did have a interesting twist, and this was the one where the other one was like, oh, cigarette butts, like, gives a little wink and a nod to fucking, the Common, her name is Hip Hop, like, The whole point is that there is a waitress that he's trying to communicate with, and it's revealed at the end of the track that he's like her deadbeat dad, and that's why he's trying to reconnect. It's like, oh, okay. Oh, actually, no, I'm sorry. The one that I thought was the sneaky was Yesterday.
Oh, Yesterday, I like that one.
I thought Yesterday was sweet. I thought that was a really great track.
Yeah.
But the little, like, at the end where it's just like, because I know you're not there because you passed away, Dad. Like, he crammed all of it, like...
Yeah.
Like, oh, I thought I saw you. Was that you? Oh, that couldn't have been you. Why couldn't it be them? What's wrong? Oh, they're dead. And there is Dad? Like, I could have pieced all of that together, but okay. You spent this whole time laying this out in this really sweet sounding song, and it tells a great story, and then you just have to spoon feed me at the end. Like, I didn't need that. It just feels corny.
Honestly, I thought he was talking about, like, an ex-girlfriend when I first heard it.
Oh, okay.
So when it came to me about that, I was like, oh. Because, like, there were certain lyrics that felt just, like, a little too friendly, and I was just like, I mean, all right, well, you know, whatever. And then, like, oh, is that? Because, yeah, that was the thing, is, like, there's certain lyrics that sounds like he's talking about someone he'd be in a relationship with, and then it was just like, oh, that's talking about your dad? I mean, I guess you can feel that way. You know, it was just kind of odd, you know? And then, The Waitress was one where you kind of get less, like, I enjoyed that more, like, that subversion more than necessarily on The Waitress, which I still think was, like, a good enough cut, but it didn't give you enough for the build-up to matter. Because with Yesterday, he's telling you all about his story, and then for the reveal of, like, oh my God, I'm talking to my, dead father. I didn't really see him, But, like, The Waitress of having me the point of, like, this guy bothers this this homeless guy is, always bothering this waitress at a job, and, she just won't leave him alone, and, he comes in, like, every other day or something like that, but, she worries when she doesn't see him because she knows he's a homeless guy, so, maybe he's dead or something like that, but every time she comes in, he's a nuisance and, only gets some cornflakes or something like that, you know what I'm saying? Like, So, yeah, and then it kind of, as the verse goes on, he's, like, angry at her, and he's like, look, lady, I'm homeless, I'm crazy, I'm so hopeless, I'm suicidal daily, and I'm assuming he's saying this to her. It was like,
right.
Which is really odd. It's like where does he get off going, like, if you and I can't coexist, let's fake it, because I ain't got the energy it takes for this relationship. It's like, you could leave my establishment.
Yeah, matter of fact, get the fuck out. You're banned.
But yeah, he's like, I'm waiting for a city bus to flatten me and transport me to the ever after happily. Like, so with that, like, I kind of got, the muck and grime of his story, right? Like, maybe reincarnated with luck, come back to Earth as a cockroach in your tip cup. Then just having the reveal of being like, by the way, all this time I was her dad. It's like, oh, that doesn't really change the story. Like, unless she said something earlier that was just like, I'm so sick and tired of you, you've been bothering me for years, or something like that. Maybe a little bit of a, oh, what does that lyric possibly mean, But it never does that. It just goes, oh, by the way, did you know it was her dad? It was like, well, did she know? Because she never addressed him like she was, like, so it's weird.
What if at the end it was like, hey, by the way, I'm your dad? And she's like, yeah, I know. Get the fuck out. Like, you've still been a real dick to me.
Yeah.
You've been overstepping countless boundaries, invading my space, scaring my patrons.
Yeah, because, it ends with, so there it is, and I have to live with it. I had the chance to make a difference, but I didn't. In the cafe bathroom, drinking free tap water, thinking, damn, I should have been a better father to my daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
I mean, yeah.
Anyway, next. What do you got? What do you got for me, Slug? Put her here. What do you got?
And it's so weird. It's like I said, it's not that I like hate this album, It's like,
no.
There's great production, lush production on a lot of these. Fucking wild horses. Woo! With the glitzy
that's a good
production.
One.
You know what I'm saying? Wild horses. I like that one. Oh, and in her music box again. Like,
yeah.
this feathery, soft flute solo, especially that comes in at the end. Such great, like, musical production. And the verse, which is, like, talking about, like, you know, this girl who rides around with her dad and listens to rap music. And, you know, she grows up listening to hip-hop with him because, you know, he's like, rapping all the words. And it sounds like he's, like, you know, the rapper, you know, he you know, puts so much inflection into it and stuff like that. You know, she looks up to him as, like, he's, like, the superstar, like, really rapping the song, you know? And so you're kind of getting that, and it doesn't really lead anywhere. It's just kind of like, it's a nice story, but it doesn't like land on anything ultimately. You know what I mean? Like, like, is he hitting on girls while driving around with his daughter, like, asleep in the passenger seat? That feels kind of weird. Like,
yeah, that's strange.
Daddy drives around, mommy works night shifts, sweet dreams, little precious. But then, like, there's parts in there where he says stuff about, like, oh, he's hitting up girls while the hi-hats sing her to sleep or something like that. And I'm just like, well, where's this taking place? But yeah, I did like, again, like, it's not necessarily like a big story necessarily, but I guess it's just like about, you know, it's a character slice of life sort of song with a lot of these, you know what I'm saying?
It's one of the less depressing, less judgmental ones.
She sings along like Dad does. She knows all the words, but she leaves out the bad ones. Except bitch. She always sings the word bitch because it makes her daddy laugh. It's her magic trick. And when Daddy picks mommy up, they fight. They fight about money. They fight about life. She concentrates so hard on the music and loses herself in the bass and the movement. And so, you know, like, getting that sort of, like I said, slice of life story, like, oh, okay, like, really get this. And then, but then there's, yeah, just the sort of oddity of the story of, like, oh, she says bitch, though. It makes her dad laugh. Like,
I forgot about that, so I do take back the less depressing. It's more of the same.
Right?
Keep them coming, Atmosphere. Keep them coming, Slug. I ended up giving this a 3 also.
Oh, I gave this one a 4.
Ooh, no, I couldn't do it.
Like I said, I think this one definitely has the better production of these two albums. If we're representing Minneapolis right now, I think this has the more consistent
these two
sound.
yeah
Because he's got a good showing, right? Like, these are some interesting tracks. They're taking you somewhere, right? Like, they're taking you to the moment which, hey, what could be the sad, rain-drenched world of Minneapolis? I don't know. I've never fucking been there, but it seems like it. This seems like the sadness of Minneapolis.
There has to have been some crossover between Atmosphere and Doomtree at some point, right?
I'm guessing, right? It has to be.
Like, I know we've reviewed a lot of albums by this point, so I'm sure if it's come up, we've made note of it, but I don't remember. But it feels like a natural fit, because their styles do kind of seem like... I always think it's kind of weird when you talk about scenes. Yeah. Like, oh, like, if this is the Minneapolis scene, it's like, there is kind of a correlation. Like, it does kind of sound similar, yeah, like in a way.
They use, you know, you can tell they're using, like, real instruments, you know. Like, there's one track on here where it's just a guitar, I think, as he's rapping it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I did like when they did that, when the instrumental was more sparse. I thought that did sound good.
Yeah, so there's a very noticeable, like, general vibe of, like, the down note, like, low key, you know, telling you about real life. And I guess also our words don't always have to rhyme. That seems to be part of the style, too, apparently.
Oh, yeah, it's just par for the course. You know how it is in Minneapolis. They can't be bothered.
That's what pulls me out of it so much, because, like, the rhyme scheme is, like, the little, like, it's the vine that swings you to the next part of the lyric, right? You know, and,
yeah.
And when they're just so not, like, focused on it at all, unless there's, like, a specific point of making it, like, a beat poetry sort of thing, you know, when it's just, like, I was just talking to this, and that'll rhyme the word, and the rhyme is a splapper, but I made it kind of rhyme with the word before, so that, it's just like, but you could have read, like, don't act like you don't know what that sounds like, you know, like...
This isn't live. You have more have more opportunities to make it sound better if you want.
Yeah.
It's like, nah, this is exactly how I intended.
Nah, because it's real. Fuck you if you don't like it. They can respect the cock or leave. What he said on that album?
You've never been to Minneapolis. You don't know how it is here. You don't know how we roll.
Yeah, we don't got time to rhyme words.
The hustle and bustle of Minneapolis.
We gotta get home we gotta get home and cry about our broken families, apparently.
God, yeah, and all the sad people we've encountered along the way in our daily commute. It's nothing but sadness and downtrodden. No, everywhere you look. I love this city.
Why are we laughing about this? Like, the city's clearly rotting from the inside. Someone do something.
Every album is a cry for help from the inside. Hopefully someone in the outside world will hear our plea. That about does it. It about covers it for this week's episode of Going Off. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. And thank you so much if you're one of the folks that requested the albums that we reviewed this week. We've only got a couple slots left. If you want to head over to our Ko-fi, that's ko-fi.com/goinoff, GOINOFF. Check out the page for details and the price difference and all that jazz.
It's streaming, twitch.tv/rapcritical. Be there for that. Get with it, act like you want it. Review anew. I do that podcast where I review movies, so over here we be reviewing albums. Over there we review movies. Taking a few requests. Actually, we just got a new request for another movie for us to do, so can't wait for those to come out. And we should be doing a crossover sometime soon. We'll another crossover, right? We got something in the works, right? We're cooking something up.
If this just happens to be your first time listening to our show after 5+ years, you could check out all the old episodes on SoundCloud, Spotify, YouTube, or iTunes. One of those is bound to work for you. There's an RSS feed that goes out from SoundCloud to iTunes and Spotify, so when it gets uploaded to SoundCloud, it might take a little bit, but it shows up everywhere else, and then I upload the video to YouTube. So if you're chilling at home and you're not going to be burning data and you want to check it out on YouTube, that's cool. If you're walking around, riding the bus, whatever, you want to listen to us on the go, maybe Spotify or iTunes might work better for you. Who knows? It's up to you. The options are there. But until next time, for Going Off, I'm Muse.
And I'm Rap Critic, and she's a snake that can fly. She's just food for the fleas. She thinks she's better than me just because she's free. My beautiful bird has gone away. My beautiful bird has gone away. My beautiful bird.
Hey, bring that beat back.